Good evening, everybody. It's Hoz. I wanted to do a quick podcast on Iran and where we are as a nation at the moment. And with the threat of another attack, I just wanted to discuss what's happened and how I, as a British Iranian politician that loves Britain, that loves Iran and loves humanity, how I feel about what's happened. And this is a message mostly to my Iranian countrymen, as well as to people from all over the world who have watched what's happened. And I just wanted to say that this war was always a war against empire. And people need to understand that since 1979 onwards, Iran has never been left in peace, not for a single moment. The Islamic Republic didn't just appear. It emerged as a wall against empire, against colonial revival, against Israel, against foreign control, cultural erasure that was taking place, and economic strangulation. And for that, Iran has paid the price in blood, blockade, and lies about its leadership. We've also earned another moniker as a nation, the only one in this region that can claim the right to say we never surrendered our sovereignty as Iranians. That's the difference between us and others in the region who have sold their soul for money and power and permission to live and lead in their own country from foreign powers. People need to understand that. Iraq fell, not once, twice. Libya's been dismantled. Syria's been compromised and carved up and balkanized. Afghanistan has been overrun. But Iran is still here, still governed by Iranians, still speaking in its own voice. So people need to understand this is not luck. This is endurance. This is strategy. This is the will of 90 million people that do not want to go under the feet of empire. That is the difference between Iran and other nations. We're not willing to bend. We're not willing to take the knee. And people need to understand that the first attempt of empire to destroy Iran was a combined effort. And it was the Iraq-Iran war. Because we all know Saddam Hussein did not act alone. He was funded, armed, praised by the West, and he used chemical weapons that were provided by Germany. And the world looked away, and Iran stood alone, outnumbered, bombarded, isolated, but it didn't fall. The war taught something to Iranians. No one is going to come to save you. You're going to get no favors. So the Iranians had to learn to save themselves, which is what they did. Iran created, innovated, and survived the siege of 8 years of war against the Soviet Empire, against Western powers, against the money of the Gulf. The whole world combated Iran. And yet, the Iran-Iraq war in the end did not leave a single square inch of Iran taken over by any other person. All of it was taken back. Every square inch of Iran stayed in sovereign hands. And our punishment was, they sanctioned us. They sanctioned Iran. And I want you to understand, they blocked Iran from getting medicine. Medicine. Why would you stop medicine coming into a country? You wanted to hurt the people. Iran has been blocked out of the finance loop. Iran was blocked out of aviation. And still Iran, it started building cars and it's launched satellites. Iran is now an advanced society in nanotech, biotech, and defense systems. Iran has developed its own nuclear power independently. They wanted collapse from Iran. What they got was resistance through innovation. Iran is way ahead of so many countries when it comes to missile defense and missile offense. And they hate Iran because we said no. No to Israeli apartheid, no to economic slavery. That's why we're targeted, because we govern ourselves, because we don't kneel to the world. We don't want to be the slaves of this empire. When Gaza burnt, Iran stood tall. 2023 to 2025, Gaza was slaughtered. 400,000 Palestinians are missing off the population list now. The population of Gaza was 2.27 million people. It's now standing at 1.85 million. That means what? That means they have killed 377,000 people. They have disappeared. And those numbers are not Hamas numbers. That's the mathematics of Palestinians getting moved from one part of Gaza to another part of Gaza and being counted off by the IDF. All of this will come out. And Iran stood by the Palestinian people. The Arab League, they held meetings. The West just sent more weapons to replenish the murder cycle that Israel had. And it was only Iran that stood in active resistance. They provided weapons, they provided and supported logistics, and they spoke out unequivocally that this is wrong what you're doing. And people who sit there and say about Shia and Sunnah, this isn't about sect. This is about the psyche and our consciousness as Iranians. Iranians can't sit idly by and watch this slaughter. I have been sick to my back teeth with everything that I've noticed and seen. I can't understand how politicians in the West are not able to see the world through the eyes that I am looking at. How are you able to watch the slaughter of people in 4K and you do nothing other than give platitudes of Israel has the right to defend itself? Even now, at the death in July, the people in Gaza are getting murdered while trying to get food. Iran is not going to stop the resistance against this empire. Iranians will never abandon Gaza, Lebanon, Yemen, Iraq, and Syria, inshallah. And Syria as well, inshallah. I want people to understand that the sanctions, in my opinion, on Iran have been nothing but terrorism. Through them, they blocked cancer drugs coming in. Can you tell me why you would stop cancer drugs coming in? Other than actual vindictiveness, other than viciousness, other than wanting to inflict pain. The people of Iran chose their own way forward as a nation of some 90 million people. You've blocked their bank payments. You've blocked food imports. They've blocked Iran in any way they can. And yet, Iran didn't collapse. Iran adapted. Iran built. This isn't just survival. This is strategic independence that has been born out of your sanctions regimes. This is what you have done in the West. You've decided to do this to a nation and you've made us grow. To punish our nation, it's given us nothing than the will to resist. This is the legacy of all of your sanctions imposed on Iran. That's a nation that's been built of its own people, by its own people, without outside influencer interfering. A uniquely Iranian project. A people that have been moving heaven and earth to keep their independence and to help others in the region to do exactly the same. That is why they don't like us. That is the reason why Iran is not welcome. And they decided to kill Haj Qasem Soleimani. They wanted to bring humiliation to Iran. But you know what? That was a learning curve for the world. Because they murdered a national hero in a cowardly drone strike. But Iran didn't whimper. Iran launched missiles at the Ain al-Assad Air Force Base, an American one. And the US was hit. And Iran paid no other price. This was the message. Iran has red lines. And if you cross them, you'll pay. And when Israel bombed Iranian soil, maybe they expected silence. Maybe they thought this was Lebanon. Maybe they thought this was Yemen. Maybe they thought this was Syria. Maybe they thought this was Iraq. Saying that though, Yemenis, I love you for everything you've done. You have never ever surrendered. And Hezbollah, what they did in defense of Lebanon, I have nothing but admiration for the resistance that you've shown against a foreign invader that invaded your country. I can't say more than that because Hezbollah is a prescribed terrorist organisation according to the UK government. I'll leave it as that. Anyway, I just, basically, Iran is not the same as these places. And what's happened is that Iran has written the new rules, and history has been rewritten. One missile at a time. One missile that crashed through the iron hole that you've got. The Iranian missile system struck deep into your military infrastructure. It's damaged you. It's global humiliation for you. No one's going to want to buy the Iron Dome. No one in living today in Israel's history has done to them what Iran did in 12 days and nights. It's shaken the illusion of invincibility that you've got about yourself. You think you're invincible. Well, the Palestinians made sure that you're not invincible and have proven that fact. With the way till today, they are still killing your soldiers. Your Iron Dome is gone. Your David Sling is gone. Your Arrow 139, THAAD, all of them unable to stop. And now you're scrambling not to fight back because you asked for a ceasefire. And now you're covering it up. You've brought in legislation, Israel, to cover your losses. You've threatened journalists, censored footage. You've blocked satellite imagery. You're hiding the truth. Because people, you need to understand what really happened. There are 21 strategic strikes that were hit by Iran. This has all been admitted to on their own TV channels, where they've turned around and said, Iran hit a lot of places. I'm going to go through the list of them. The Military Intelligence HQ of the Spy Network Hub, hit. The Rafael Defense Facility, Operational HQ for the Iron Dome, hit. Mossad HQ, hit. Ben Gurion Airport, hit. The Chip Zones, Kiryat Gat, hit. Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, hit. The Weizmann Institute Biotech Research, hit. Ramon Air Base, Northern Air Command, hit. Microsoft Delta Center Digital Infrastructure, hit. Tel Nof Air Force Base, the nuclear-capable jet, hit. Nevatim Air Base, F-35s, hit. Of the Air Base, Elite Pilot Training Center, hit. Palmachin Drones and Missile Tests, hit. Al Jalil Base, a strategic outpost, hit. Ministry of Defense HQ, your military command center, hit. Your Defense Ministry CNC, your command and control, your top brass, hit. Al Haifa Bay Chemicals, fuel lines, Haifa Oil Refinery, Haifa Power Plant, Haifa Port of Haifa, Trade Naval Hub, Each one of these strikes hit a different nerve. Your intelligence, your air power, your economy, your morale. And for the first time, it wasn't Israel writing the rules. It was someone else. And that someone else was Iran. You had decided to attack Iran unprovoked, thinking to yourself that Iran is going to collapse. They will not want to fight back because they're going to be scared of us. You don't understand Iran or Iranians. This is not Syria. Your jets bomb it at will. US soldiers sit in the oil fields. Turkish troops and proxies have taken their parts of Syria. Kurds have taken a part of it. What's left? Not a lot. I'm still waiting to see the jihadi front of Syria. 5 Pillars, Dili Hussein, whatever his other name is, Rahman or Rahman or something, who are sitting here cheerleading for what's happened in Syria as some kind of amazing project in Islam and Sunnah and this, that and the other. That Syrian government is now about to normalize with Israel. And you guys turn around and said, if they normalize with Israel, that's a red line for you. So I'm waiting for the red line for you, Dili. I'm waiting for your red line. I don't think you're going to worry, though, because I don't think you guys actually have red lines when it comes to your hatred of Iranians and your love for the jihadis, which is what is made up of Syria. And the difference between Syria before and the Syria of today, it's a huge gap. And look at the difference with Iran, and look at the difference in Tehran, and look at the way people are occupying Syria. There's no foreign flags in Iran, no subdivisions of a country, no imposed ruler. That's the difference between surrender and sovereignty. That's the difference. And today, of all days, which is why I decided to do my podcast, Mr. Reza Pahlavi, he's parading around London, getting handshakes from Nigel Farage, Priti Patel, and apparently he's paid Boris Johnson to meet him, because people like Boris Johnson put themselves out for sale through agencies, and he got to meet Boris Johnson and take these photos of himself to make himself look like he's mixing it up with British politicians. He even had pictures taken with David Cameron. It's all a show to lend himself some form of credence that he does not have in the country of his father. He also got to meet the Israeli handlers of the British establishment. No less a person than Luke Akehurst, the man that acts for Israel before he acts for Britain. Across, what's it called, round table, a cross round table of lords and MPs, all of whom serve the state of Israel before Britain. At the end of the day, he is a servant of the same group who monopolise power in the halls of Westminster and Whitehall. All I saw in the pictures were people who are servants of Israel, meeting UK party figures like he's someone important. The only people cheering this geezer on, are Zionist-funded satellite channels, US intelligence, and every hand that's ever tried to strangle Iran is sitting there patting this fucker on the back. Inside Iran, he is fucking despised. He is not the son of a nation. He's the son of submission. That's what he is. He is a submissive person for the West, and not the Iran that we know today. If you guys, and let's be honest, if you're floating the idea of a king in 2025, you've already lost that argument. Maybe before we ask Reza Pahlavi to become king of Iran, you should try something easier. Let's put King Charles back on the throne in America. Get a powdered wig for him, get him on Capitol Hill. The Crown, MAGA edition. Iran doesn't need a king. We're not fucking idiots. We've grown out of fairy tales. Iran wants independence from empire. It wants to be its own sovereign nation. We don't need another fucking soap opera with a Pahlavi here. And the thing is this, the enemies of Iran know that they can't win. That's why they've backed the MEK. That's why they bring back monarchs for us. That's why they flood social media with lies. But Iranians know. We know who stood firm. We know who ran. We know who begged the enemy to bomb Iran. The MEK is hated, not just for their ideas, but for their betrayal of the motherland. The monarchists aren't feared. They're actually pitied. The people of my mother's generation remember the father and pine for those days of him. But tens of millions of people hit the street to remove his father. And this family lost Iran. And they're never ever going to get it again. They're a lost organization that has roots today in intelligence agencies and an Israeli overreach project. If they think Iran is another Syria, they're out of their minds. I just don't understand how Americans who voted in their millions against war, and I want to speak plainly to the American people, you didn't ask for this. You didn't ask to go to war for Israel. In fact, you can say that the people that voted for Donald Trump explicitly have voted for him because he's not going to lead them into another war. He is the peace president. They don't want to go to war to save Israel, on behalf of Israel, and the madness that Israel has brought on itself and the region. America does not want any part of it. The American people don't want nothing to do with this. And the cry of never again is the cry that Donald Trump will need to heed, because Trump's base didn't want this. MAGA is being split down the middle because they see it too. Trump is acting as the Israeli president. He's not an American president. What does that tell you about who really runs the show in Washington? You need to understand here. And the reason I say to you that you're never ever going to win Iran over, because you don't comprehend the idea of Imam Hussein. And I'm not a Muslim. I recognize the power of Imam Hussein to Iranians. I'm an agnostic. But you don't have to be religious to understand the thing that has driven Iranians to be what they are. And it is the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. And Imam Hussein belongs to every Iranian who chooses honor, sharaf, over humiliation. He's not just a religious figure. He's a civilizational one. He stood with dignity, knowing it would cost him everything. Knowing that he was going to get killed. That's the spirit that lives in Tehran, in Shiraz, in Mashhad, in Ahvaz, in Isfahan. He lives in the fibre of every Iranian who says, I will not bow to tyranny, not foreign nor domestic. Whether you pray or not is not important. Whether you wear a chador or jeans. Whether you say God is great, Allahu Akbar, or Iran must live. If you resist, if you protect your people, Hussein is yours. The message of Imam Hussein that he taught Iranians is this: some lives are worth less than one death in truth. One death in truth. To live without honor is not to live. And martyrdom is standing up for the truth and not dying. So they don't fear our missiles, they fear our memory. And if we carry that memory and stay united under it, no empire can erase Iran. None and no one can destroy Iran. I'm going to end it because I've gone on for quite a while. And this is my final word. Iran will not fall unless we fall apart. If we divide, they win. If we chase illusions, we burn. If we betray each other, they walk through us. But if we as Iranians stand together, as Iranians first, then Iranian lives, then Iranians resist, then Iranians win. Iran is not just a nation. It is a wall against empire. And we as Iranians have that responsibility to be the bricks in that wall against the tyranny of this evil empire. Long live all the righteous, and thank you for listening. Good night.